डॉक्टर साहब नमस्ते।
नमस्कार सचिन जी, कैसे हैं आप?
आप बढ़िया सर, सब आपका दुआ है, आशीर्वाद है, शुभकामनाएं है, चल रहा है।
अच्छी बात है, बहुत
अ, आप कैसे हैं?
अच्छी बात है, आपके दर्शन हो गए।
आपके भी दर्शन होंगे उसी बात है, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। और क्या
चलो,
चल रहा
फिलर
है?
की जैसे यूज करता तू मेरे को आजकल।
हाँ?
मैं फिलर के जैसे यूज कर रहा आजकल।
अरे मार दिया। अरे ऐसा मत बोलो यार।
अभी कोई नहीं बैठा, चिंता नहीं कर।
हाँ, अगली बार मेरे को सोचना पड़ेगा अभी।
मैंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
तो देखा, हमारे आईने के लोग सुन रहे हैं भी।
और सुनाओ।
और बढ़िया सब। अरे ये उनको डेंगू हो गया, जो स्पीकर थे उनको।
कोई मसला नहीं है, ठीक होने चाहिए, बाकी क्या।
हाँ, ऑफिस में ही क्या क्या?
हाँ।
तो लगा दिया पीछे से, वो कुछ आता है टेक्नोलॉजी के हिसाब से। हमको कुछ जमता नहीं है ऐसे कुछ।
अरे ऑफिस में बैठा हूँ।
अरे ऑफिस नहीं है, कुछ तो लगा है, क्या बैकड्रॉप बोलते हैं इसको। अरे हम क्या पेड़ पौधे में घूमने वाले लोग हैं, हमको नहीं पता चलती ये चीजें।
अच्छी बात। ऑफिस में बैठा है क्या नीचे?
हाँ, काम चालू है मेरा। रोजी रोटी तो चलानी पड़ेगी ना भैया, अपनी नौकरी नहीं है ना। अभी बंद कर दिया, 8 बज गए।
चलो बढ़िया।
बाकी कब बना रहे इधर का प्रोग्राम?
अभी बन गया, मैं देख इसी बहाने मुलाकात हो।
चलो बढ़िया। ये तो चालू रहेगा, इसको क्या है। क्या घर पे ऑल वेल?
ऑल वेल। तू सुना।
और कुछ नहीं भैया, रूटीन चल रहा है। मैडम, मेंबर्स कितने हैं पार्टिसिपेंट्स आज?
सर वेटिंग रूम में अभी तक 11 है।
कितने?
11।
2 मिनट के बाद ले लेना उनके रूम को।
ओके सर।
और सोनिका मैडम बोलने वाली है ना आज?
जी
आईने का
जी सर,
प्रेजेंटेशन,
जस्ट
ओके
आ
ओके।
रहे हैं वो।
ठीक है। भैया शॉर्टकट है आज बिल्कुल। ठीक है, फेसबुक पे लाइव कर दिया क्या?
यस सर।
अरे बोलना चाहिए था ना। मैडम ले लो रूम, पार्टिसिपेंट्स को चालू कर देते।
ओके सर। Sachin sir, should we start?
Yeah, good evening everyone. सीड्स फॉर फ्यूचर वेबिनार में मैं सचिन ब्राह्मणकर आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ। इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन इस वेबिनार सीरीज में आज का जो हमारा वेबिनार दैट इज द 60th वेबिनार। इस वेबिनार की सीरीज चलाने में हमारे प्रेसिडेंट वाईपी सिंह साहब, सेक्रेटरी मुकुल त्यागी का बहुत बड़ा सहयोग है। उनके सहयोग की से ये 60th वेबिनार आज होने जा रहा है। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है दैट इज ऑन अर्बन प्लांटेशन। आज के इस वेबिनार में हमारे साथ जिग्नेश पटेल साहब, डायरेक्टर अहमदाबाद म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन जुड़ने वाले थे, लेकिन कुछ उनके हेल्थ ठीक न होने के कारण आज वो हमारे साथ जुड़ने रहे। और हमारे इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन को वेरी क्लोजली एसोसिएटेड हमारे सहयोगी, हमारे दोस्त विशाल महाजन साहब आज हमारे साथ जुड़े और वो आज अर्बन प्लांटेशन के ऊपर आज हम सभी को बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मार्गदर्शन देने वाले हैं। तो 11th आवर पे हमारा इनविटेशन एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए मैं इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन की ओर से डॉक्टर विशाल महाजन सर को स्पेशल थैंक्स देना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने 11th आवर में हमारा इनविटेशन एक्सेप्ट किया। और आज जो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हमारे साथ आज अर्बन प्लांटेशन इस टॉपिक में जुड़े, उनको मार्गदर्शन के लिए करने के लिए आज हमारे साथ जुड़े। तो विथ वार्म वेलकम टू डॉक्टर विशाल महाजन सर। उसी के साथ साथ सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का मैं तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ। और वाईपी सिंह साहब के मार्गदर्शन में इंडियन नर्सरी एसोसिएशन डे बाय डे एक एक स्टेप आगे जा रहा है। उसका संक्षिप्त में लेखा जोखा आप सभी के सामने प्रस्तुत करने के लिए मैं सोनिका मैडम से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन की जो भी एक्टिविटीज वाईपी साहब के मार्गदर्शन में चल रही है उसका संक्षिप्त में एक प्रेजेंटेशन दे। तो ओवर टू यू सोनिका मैडम।
Thank you, Sachin sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen. So I hope it's visible to everybody.
No, your presentation is not open.
It's not open?
No.
Okay, it's opening it. It's open in my laptop. I don't know if it's...
But we are not able to see it.
Okay, just a second. Is it visible, sir, now?
No.
Still not. Okay.
It's fine now. Please go ahead.
That's fine. So on behalf of INE, I would like to welcome all the participants, association members, and our today's speaker, Dr. Vishal Mahajan, to the 68th webinar presented by INA. So Indian Nurserymen Association is the registered non-governmental association and is a lifetime committee member of Confederation of Indian Horticulture under National Horticulture Board, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. I would just like to introduce our founder. So it is rightly observed that there are very few people who dedicate their life to the cause of society and to build something that they believe strongly in. Late Shri Arjun Das Agarwal ji was undoubtedly one of them, and who contributed to the society in a tremendous manner by bringing like-minded people together to work on the cause, and united the Indian Nurserymen Association across the country for the holistic growth of the nursery industry. And his vision and dedication towards this society carved a way for the formation of Indian Nurserymen Association in 1987, famously known as INA. So these are the board members that we have since last. So INA marked the completion of 30th year of establishment in 2017 with the national presence of more than 3,700 lifetime members across every state of India, and is proudly one of the non-profit organization which has been on the forefront when it comes to redefining, collaborating, and improvising the nursery business across India. So currently, INA is growing under the leadership of our 9th president, Sri YP Singh sir. He had also served as the treasurer from 2006 to 2008 and as the general secretary from 2008 to 11. He also chairs the INA Governing Council, acting as the important link between leaders and policymakers within the association and those throughout the horticulture sector. He worked very closely with founder and first president of INA and has been working in INA since its inception, and also known for his philanthropic activities. He's the owner of iconic Greenways Nursery, which is now the largest plant nursery in North India. So let's have a look at our leadership board. These are the faces behind the society success and who still keep us going through everyday challenges. There are many well-known faces of various industries that support us in reaching out to the general masses and help us gain recognition. These are Bollywood actors and playback singers Sri Daler Mehendi and Sri Sayaji Shinde, Padma Shri awardee Dr. Sunita Narayan, Miss India International 2015 Miss Supriya, and social activist Sardar V.N. Singh ji. So let's have a look at the growth of a tree with various milestones and as its branches. INA was formed in 1987 with a 7-member team and made its presence across all the states and cities and enrolled 2,000 plus members by 2016. In 2017, a national directory was initiated by INA ex-president Sri Subramaniam that helped increasing a family beyond 3,000 members. The current governing council of INA took the charge in hand in September 2019 and holding on till date with their never-ending efforts. And now we have more than 3,700 members. Indian Nurserymen, as I introduced earlier, it's a non-government organization with more than 3,700 lifetime members across every state of India. Indian Nurserymen Association truly represents the entire horticulture industry, including landscape and forest, plant breeders, educators, researchers, florists, and all other stakeholders. So basically, this is our so how we work is Indian Nurserymen Association actually works as an influential advocates which impact legislative and regulatory decisions for benefit of horticulture and other associations, also as authoritative educators to leverage the industry collective knowledge and experiences, also as collaborative across the industry. To share the knowledge, resources, and connectivity for mutual success of all horticulture and associated sectors. We also help businesses to grow and business of plants and related products and services by promoting the expertise of fellow professionals and supporting the development of quality products. The association will support activities that, thanks to industries, products, and services, lead to healthier and more beautiful communities and a more inspired way of life. So this is kind of our organizational structure. We have segregated to different zones, states, and mandals so that we can work more effectively and in a more in a organized way. So the GC makes major decisions pertaining to the operations of the association and to establish policies to carry out INA objectives. These are the pillars that we work on mostly. PR, and these are the 6 pillars basically: PR and advocacy, events and exhibitions, publication and papers, partnerships, networking, R&D, and study tour and capacity building. So as we all know that all the industries got hit by COVID-19 pandemic really bad, and so does in nursery industry. So our 9th president, Mr. YP Singh, actually helped us get through this difficult times as much as he could. So he reached out to all the ministries, related ministries basically, to sort out the problem, and we have discussed 6 important issues with the government. And finally government, after seeing all the efforts and the government actually ensured that they will immediately relief will be given to Nurserymen Association, and Ministry of and as it requested, the plants and the related products was considered under the essential items category. The nursery sector in India has tremendous potential to be global standards. Global standards for being leaders in the international export. However, a green sector is facing many problems in order to survive these days. And these are the few concerns that we have put in front of government on behalf of INA, which includes setting up 4 international standard nursery hubs, development and training centers, R&Ds, reallotment of subsidies, and important roles in process like Horticulture Export Council of India. Yeah, so as I told you that we have in touch with government for different aids and different concerns that we face regarding the nursery association and nursery industry. And since we are in talking terms, so we put these issues in front of them, and the Development of Agriculture Government of India agreed to relaunch the subsidiary scheme for polyhouse, greenhouse for all types of nurseries from coming financial year of 2020 and 2022. INA always advocated the government to conduct a national survey and map out of nurseries according to their products and setups. Future INA raised the issues Nursery Act, against which we submitted written notes 2 months back. Special Secretary assured that ministry will call a meeting with representatives from INA. So basically, these are the proceedings on what we actually doing in terms of keeping the nursery standards in place. Proposed establishment of, we also proposed establishment of Flower and Export Council of India under Ministry of Agriculture, and the aim is to increase the export up to 90 million USD. This was written in 2020. Actually, this is 2021. So Indian Nurserymen Association is proud to share the INA as an integral part of core team in the design phase and its implementation. So as we also like to play go global, and under the leadership of the Sri YP Singh sir, President of INA and current governing council, we have received around 30 applications from various countries for the membership. And INA thrives to grow bigger and stronger each passing day. And in order to achieve the milestone, we are open to getting more members on board. Apart from the presence in India, now INA is having its presence in Japan, Vietnam, Colombia, Netherlands, South Africa, Lebanon, Bangladesh, SAARC countries basically, and many more. So this is the drive going global. As a member, we are gaining access to log into membership directory so that we can find other INA members. Members stay up to date on current issues that are important to nursery industry, including regulatory issues, policies, political trends, and economic news. Nursery Today magazine keeps you posted on nursery industry development, regularly features articles on India and international nurseries and allow nurseries professional to share their knowledge. From hands-on interactive sessions to technical sessions from growers, retailers, landscapers, re-energized and ready to tackle the business ahead. Members receive up to 25% off registration for INA events, tools, seminars, and conferences subjected to decision of governing council board and organizing committee. The INA offers opportunities for networking and career enhancement as members only events and chapter meetings. So basically, these are the activities that we are going on ahead with, and to keep the nursery industry and other members, people who want to work in this sector, to make process and to make the structure more easy for them. So this is our Nursery Today, our monthly magazine. Since last many years, we are doing this. Nursery Today magazine covers all aspects of updates, research, technical papers, and other articles. And basically, people can get to read about and get to know about other people who are doing the similar work in the industry, and also features interviews of relevant industry experts and influencers to make people aware about the different techniques, different topics around the industry. So INA Directory is a tri-yearly publication. Indian Nurserymen Association publishes directory for the horticulture industry on every third year. This directory covers all the data and information related to plants, nursery, and its industry. The second edition of the directory was published on 2017-18, and the third edition is due in 2020-21. So Seed for Future webinar series, which we are actually currently attending, is basically introduced on 15th May 2020. We are hosting several webinars on various topics which are relevant for nurseryman its business during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today's webinar are going to help people who are directly or indirectly related to the horticulture industry and academia, or basically if somebody wants to learn and somebody wants to grow in the similar sector. So INA has already hosted more than 50 webinars on different subjects, and we have more than a database of 4,000 participants have attended the sessions till date. HortiPro India 2018 and 19. Basically, this is a event that we organize every year. Indian Nurserymen Association hosts HortiPro India, which is India's largest international exhibition on ornamental plants, nursery, landscape, floriculture, greenhouse, Elliott Industries. Within 2 years of inception, it has become the leading event of the horticulture in India and has been widely acknowledged as a trendsetter at various national and international platforms. These are few pictures of the event. Plantation and plant donation drive on World Environment Day 2021. Yeah, so this is it. Thank you, sir. Over to Sachin, sir.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सोनिया मैडम। आज के सीड्स फॉर फ्यूचर वेबिनार में अर्बन प्लांटेशन का जो टॉपिक है उसको मार्गदर्शन करने के लिए हमारे साथ डॉक्टर विशाल महाजन सर जुड़े हुए। ही इज हेड कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र कठुआ, शेरे कश्मीर यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर साइंसेस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. Dr. Mahajan has did his BSc in forestry, MSc in forestry, and PhD in agroforestry. He is a life member of Indian Society of Agroforestry. He is a life member of Indian Society of Krishi Vigyan. He is a life member of Indian Ecological Society. Journal of Green Farming. He's a member of Indian Society of Tree Scientists. He has published almost more than 25 research paper on different level in national and international. He has already edited one book. He has a regular publishing his articles in newspapers and magazines. So today we have with us a very knowledgeable person who is going to guide us on urban plantation. So I welcome Dr. Mahajan sir on behalf of Indian Nurserymen Association, and I request him to deliver his today's lecture on urban plantation. So over to you, Dr. Mahajan.
Thank you very much, Sachin ji. I personally thank you, INA, for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with all the learned participants during this webinar. Just a minute, I'm sharing my screen.
Sir, just do full screen.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is it clearly visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Thank you very much. So the topic assigned to me is urban plantation. It is not that I am going to give new sermons or lessons for urban plantations. I'll be delivering my talk and sharing my experience. Obviously want one-to-one experience from our participants also. To start with, let us start the word urban. Urban is basically derived from the Latin word urbis, which means city. So anything related to city, whether it is formed from natural population, growth, migration, trees, whatsoever is in and around city constitutes urban. So I would like to place on record that the Government of India has issued Urban Greening Guidelines 2014, wide which all the master plans across the metropolitan cities and developing cities. There are around 37 crore persons in India as per census of 2011 who are residing in cities, which contributes nearly 31.16% of the country's population. And it is expected that more than 40% of the population will be in urban landscape by 2026. So there is a great scope and opportunity for our nurserymen, for our experts who are dealing in urban landscape to increase their business manifold. So if we go by one of the prediction that by the end of 2050, our population will be 170 crores. That means more than 10,000 cities in the next decade are likely to become having population of more than 10 lakh persons per city and will be classified as bigger towns or cities. So the importance of urban plantation is that it is critical for making our cities sustainable, healthy, and energy efficient. However, urban green spaces can contribute more if they have an optimum planning, designing, and can be developed and maintained appropriately so that they are accessible both in terms of area and population. So coming to the what could be the benefits of the urban plantations? If we go by urban plantations, besides aesthetic values, what should be the other benefits what our urban plantations are putting to us? It is a general known fact that in our cities, we have a very little open space left. So trees can absorb the metropolitan pollution, which mostly impact human lives. And for example, absorbing pollution and in result to that will release oxygen. They will contribute and maintain healthy urban environment, provide clean air, water, soil. They also help to regulate the microclimate of the area. It is well assumed that the green vegetation is able to lower the temperature by 17 degrees, which can lead to the reducing the load of our air conditions by average to 50%. They improve the urban microclimate, I have already discussed. They present the local natural and cultural heritage by providing habits for the diversity of wildlife conservation and other urban resources. Then besides this, there are other physical benefits, social benefits. Physical benefits include they provide as a temperature buffers for providing shade during summers, wind breaks in winters, and also in addition, reducing the noise pollution, carbon dioxide levels, providing habitat for wildlife. Then urban greening offers improvements in air, water quality, land resource, will help in reducing the catchment areas in the floodplain areas like that. And social benefits, like they not only provide a refreshment contrast to the harsh shape of our color, texture, buildings, and simulate the senses with the simple color, sound, and smell. They are well managed and maintained. Green spaces contribute to the social interaction by creating opportunity for people for all ages to interact. Then economic benefit. This is one of the key feature for which we are going for or promoting urban landscape, that the property owners value the greenery by premium. You must have heard that now the concept of pick and pay has emerged in agrotourism in Himachal, in J&K. People drive into the farms, pick the fruit themselves and pay for it. And they pay premium prices for it. If I go by one of the example that in India, New Delhi is one of the greenest capital of the world due to consistent emphasis to greening and strict monitoring of the tree cutting. Thank you to the National Green Tribunal, which has also added a taste to it because of the so many restrictions and penalties which NGT, National Green Tribunal, has imposed on our developers, that has put strictures for cutting the trees across the urban landscape. And one of the major development came in New Delhi after the Commonwealth Game during 2010. And if we go by the data, NCT has about 300 square kilometer of green area in 2009, which accounted for nearly 20% of the total area, making per capita availability green space in Delhi only was 22 square meter. These are some of the prominent examples. That includes our Buddha Park, Lodi Garden, Deer Park, Mughal Gardens of Rashtrapati Bhavan, Gardens of Five Senses, Indraprasth Park, etc. But now coming to the technical session, if we see in our urban landscape, what we have, there is, if you see this, the right picture, one of the typical impact of that concretization of payments, what we generally have seen, that payments have not left any area beneath the trunk zone. And due to this, trees suffer heavily due to restricted space and lack of air and water under impermeable surfaces. In some cases, roots even damage the pavements, while in others, roots may be cut off or damaged during the pavement repair work. This is the example where they have repaired this pavement. They have removed one tile from this. So such things should have been avoided by the proper planning. And what they have done, these are the left alone trees available. They have now created these type of pavements so that air, water, and the horizontal expansion of the trees are not impacted. Then roads. Whenever we are planning for plantations, urban plantation across the roads, the criteria should be some of the criteria that should be taken into account are: species should suit the soil and climatic condition. For example, our soil pH, acidity, that strata that should be taken care of, and especially climatic conditions. General species of very extreme climates, very cold climates and very hot climates should be avoided. Species should be hardy, robust, and should need little attention once they have achieved the certain level. At least the maintenance part should have been the minimum. Species should have long life. They should be preferred at least 40 to 50 years. They should be able to sustain on such conditions. Species must have either evergreen or nearly evergreen, or to be leafy during the summer, because summer the scorching heat is very high, and the microclimate which our tree covers provide during the summer winters is very important. The species must be fast growing and wind resistant. Wind resistance is one of the important aspects, because if the tree is not wind resistant and is likely to be uprooted very easily, and they not only cause a dangerous situation for the passers-by, the vehicles or pedestrians which are passing, but also may lead to the blockade of roads frequently. The tree should have been deep rooted. Shallow roots generally have a horizontal or lateral expansions, and they lead to the injury to the pavements. The species should not be allowed to grow in a very large size, requiring expensive pruning or removal. The species should have the capacity to easily transfer plantation. The commercial, aesthetic, and social values of the species should also be considered while making these choices. Now, coming to the main function for the roadside plantation is the avenue. So I have already told, the quick growing, fast growing species having a dense shade should be selected. The trees should be provide not only shade to the side, but also to the center of the road. They should be able to provide some umbrella or semi-umbrella like crown, like in case of neem, mahua, imli, and mango trees, which are more suitable on national and state highways. If trees are provided shade, they also yield valuable timber and fruits. So the economic part is also being covered here. A tree should be able to plant it in such a way that their crowns may develop freely. When road is more than 30 meters wide, double avenue trees with other avenue near the edge of the road may be line that can be used. I'll explain all these things with examples and with photographs later on. So if we plant the tree along the roads, we categorize them in 4 categories: avenue planting, group planting, mixed planting, and informal planting. If we go by avenue planting consists of the planting areas in a single or double rows along highways. Long avenues may become monotonous. This is very important while planning the avenue plantations along our highways, especially express highways. Monotonous plantations of trees must be avoided because they sometimes induce drowsiness. You are constantly watching only one thing. That may lead to the loss of concentration and may induce drowsiness to the driver. So driver must be should able to concentrate on the highway. Besides this, keep on guessing what could be the next pattern on the avenue side of the plantations. So loss or irregular growth of the individual tree in long avenues is also noticed. These disadvantages may be overcome by planting irregular intervals, say 30 to 50 meters or 75 meters, and by offsetting the trees by 1.5 meters from a uniform alignment. So we can either shift it by 1.5 meter up or down along the pavement, or the stretch should be able to should be not more than 30 meters to 75 meters. What is the criteria? Whether it is 30 meters or 75 meters. 30-meter stretch should be for the super highways or express highways, and 75 meters should be for the state highways or the single roads where we can take up this. Avenue plantations will take distinct form of treatment on curves and undulating contours. This is very important because sometimes when we are on a crossroad at a choke, what we call as Choraha, so there at least we should leave that stretch for at least 10 to 15 meters so that there is a clear visibility for the driver as well as pedestrian about the vehicles passing by. See, these are some of the examples of the avenue plantations. Clear cut, a single tree along the track, but the road is for the pedestrians, for the walkers. Then coming to the group plantations. Group plantations are a clump of 3 to 4 trees along the highway. Which overcomes the monotony of the avenue plantations. To be more effective, the spacing of the group should not be uniform. This should be staggered on opposite sides of the roads. The advantage of this system is that it helps in selecting tree types to suit the exact conditions of each side. See, these are the examples of this. This is our road. There is a gap available. We have a multi-tier system. There is a shrub, palms, some trees, and larger trees. So such type of canopies, see, another example is like this multi-tier system where groups can be formed of different canopies, different layers. Then coming to the mixed plantation. Mixed plantation consists of selecting different varieties of trees rather than one in a single variety. This system avoids monotony of a single variety planting. The shedding of leaves takes place in different seasons. The plant provides fruits and flowers in different seasons. Thus, the aesthetic value of the avenue is preserved throughout the year. During storm and wind velocity is very high, the harder varieties will survive and will act as a nurse crop to the weaker varieties too. These are some of the mixed plantations, mixed avenue plantations, which we are commonly seeing across the airports while coming out of the airports or express highways in India nowadays. Then coming to the informal plantation. In urban fringe, avenue planting may include formal landscape on an otherwise informal one. Single trees may be featured where practicable, providing visual interest. Then these are the spacing. If we are keeping when we are raising the trees, a minimum spacing of 10 to 12 meters should be followed. The trees in the formal avenue planting should be planted in rows or on either side of the roads in a staggered manner. At urban intersections, the tree should be at least 3 meters away from the intersection. This I have already told you that sufficient space should be left at intersection for rightly viewing the distances. Some of the classical examples which we commonly use for urban landscape or plantations are neem, mahua, imli, shisham. Then mango, albizia, then rain tree. These are some of the classical examples we commonly see across Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Gujarat to Northeast on plantation, on roadside plantation in urban landscape. And very important, trees which are unsuitable for roadside avenues. One of the most common tree which we see along the highway that should be avoided, always avoided for new planning, is eucalyptus, because that is brittle. Wood is not that much hard, and because it takes very height up to 50 meters, 60 meters. So it is liable to block the highways during very high wind storms or velocities. Besides this, other species like Melantonia, Albizia, Acacia siamia, Ficus glomerata, these species should be avoided because they have weak wood and consequently break easily in a windstorm. Then thorny trees. Thorny trees like acacias, ziziphus, which we commonly known as bear, Acacia nilotica, modesta, these should be avoided because these are the thorny trees and these thorns are nuisance for the pneumatic tires, because inflated tires may likely to get damaged with the thorns of these trees. Then coming to the suitable trees for town roads. These are the some of the examples, keeping in view the foliage of the trees for the outer avenues, because these are the larger trees can be raised on the center of the trees, but towards the outer side. These are some of them are Samonia anthocephalus, which we call as kadam, neem, Alstonia, Eugenia, Tamarindus, Imli, Putranjiva, then Callistemon, and towards the inner side, Acacia fistula, Bohemia, Colvellia, Peltophorum, Spathodia, Dalonyx. These are the some of the classical examples which we can raise for the inner avenues. Then tiling of the pavements. And most importantly, previous material should be used. Unnecessarily and excessive tiling of the road pavement should be avoided. The area around trees should not be covered with tiles, as it hampers the basic necessity and functioning and needs of the trees, because I have already told it restricts the lateral growth, air, water availability to the plant. In addition, whatever tiling is done previously, that should be used. Roots of these trees should be protected. Topsoil should be preserved while taking up the civil work. Like this. These were the some of the examples where previous soils, damaged soils, they have cut it and grass was promoted, so that it gives aesthetic look to the pavements. Tiling is to be done only in case of pavements with heavy pedestrian traffic. For example, if we are using it to the center of the road, where we are designing a landscape for the divider, where these used tiles or previous material can be used for raising such concepts. In case of bridges and such areas where there are no pedestrian movement, tiling may be avoided, as in case tiling is to be done, preference is to be given to the previous tiles. Then I have already told, growth of the grasses need to be encouraged on the lesser pavement areas, or where our pressure of pedestrians is low. Then selection of the trees should be such that excessive pruning should be avoided, because excessive pruning leads to the upsetting of the root-shoot ratio, and leaf pruning should not be restored to indiscriminate use of the pruning should be avoided. Then whatsoever material is used or leaf which are falling during the seasons can be utilized for making compost, because the burning of the leaves may cause pollution. There are different systems available for composting, whether it is waste decomposers or vermicompost, like that, different HDP methods, there are different methods available. Very important, a minimum area of 1.25 meters by 1.25 meters around the trees should be left uncemented, because as a thumb rule, whatsoever is the canopy, what is the expected canopy of the tree, at least 50% of the area of the canopy should be left uncemented. On the pavements, widening of the roads up to trunk of the trees has not only avoided but has to be restricted, as roots come under tremendous pressure which gradually die. In case of storm, these trees may topple and not only impact the pavements but also damage the other structures nearby. These are the common, I have already shown this. Then planting trees in urban areas. If we see what are the thumb rules, what we keep, what we should always keep in mind while taking up such things. First, collect detailed information about the condition at previously identified planting site. We must have the basic information. What is the plan? Whether the road is going to be extended in near future, in near 20-30 years. Is it a state highway, national highway? And most importantly, what is the locally available material of the planting material like trees, shrubs, herbs, which are readily established in the area? That information is very important. Then use information to develop planting plan, determine what to plant, where to plant, and what special methods are needed to reduce the urban impact on trees. Then the basic planting design. Plant species, diversity of the plants is very important. So always select a species that are appropriate for the site and tolerant for the urban conditions. Then planting material. Most of the time we do know, we sometimes use bald planting material, sometimes bare root, sometimes container. So this is very important. What planting materials, the source and the method, whether it is a ball with earth ball or with the prototypes, with our plastic prototypes, containers, or bare root. Bare roots are generally planted during winter season before the onset of the spring. So that is easy to carry. So it is always important to make sure what type of planting material we are going to use. Then plant spacing. Based on the diversity and the desired density, what type of density we want to create. And also it depends upon the budget. We should always take into account the planting space. And one of the most important aspect is its survival rate. Because I have already told, the plants should be such that they require minimum watering, aftercare. Such species should be selected. Then planting plan. These includes our species list, sketch, planting dimensions, instructions, supply list, site preparation schedules, and cost estimates. These are always need to be readily kept with us before going for this. Now coming to the different categories of plants, what we are going to use in this. We mostly categorize them in three classes: ground covers, shrubs, and trees. And ground covers means low planting below the knee height planting. And shrubs knee to eye level. And some of the shrubs we may go for planting above eye level, up to eye level, not beyond that. And trees can be categorized on small, medium, and large, and these have to be above eye level. These are the three broad categories what we use in urban landscape. Then coming to the ground cover. These are some of the classical examples which normally our nurserymen use in their nurseries, because grasses, most resistant grass available is Cynodon, normally known as dove grass. Besides this, these are some of the commonly used ground cover which we use for urban landscape. Then the purpose of such plants should be that the floor must allow the free vision in movement. They see this example. It should not restrict the vision. It may be our parks like that. Besides this, it should provide a pedestrian circulation surface, because less hard wearing than the pavement. The grass species should be such that it should be the less harder than. Tolerant species, including several turf grasses, which can be regularly mowed down or even grazed, should form a suitable surface for relaxing, sports, cycling, and occasional vehicle playing, etc. Then, besides this, a uniform carpet of mown grass or ground hugging, smooth textures can be used to enhance the visual effect of the ground modeling by closely following the contours. See, this is a typical garden where we have used our mown grass besides our such species which normally remain below the knee height. Then, not only this, these species form a higher canopy, but still below the need height, have further possibility in the spatial design when we are using across the space, like the different altitudes, latitudes, or along the different stairs, different heights, or we are using it at different positions. That also form a very good canopy cover in the urban landscape. Then shrubs. These are some of the commonly used shrubs we are using below knee height are Tumera, then our Ixaris. These are some of the examples we are using. Then basically shrubs below knee height forms tridimensional structure, not only length but also height. These forms a carpet of foliage which can be used alone or combined with boulders, gravel, or other leftover paving material, which form a spread of mix of color, texture, and pattern across the ground. So low planting can, whenever we use, itself form a visual platform or ground plane like carpeting of the plants. When we see the shrubs below the knee height, some of can be combined with the taller herbaceous species like palms, areca palms, your fan palm. So this situation is like a foundation or washing in painting or ground against which the figure can be seen. In this way, it provides a common ground or platform for junipers to other planting. These are some of the examples like Ficus pumila. It gives a beautiful foliage. This is the burrowing image, but can be easily used with the ground creeper. These trailers and climbers can be planted in form of continuous mat of foliage over vertical and horizontal surfaces. Then low planting has essential role at the edge between hard and soft landscape. This is very important because if we are using tile somewhere for the pedestrian, and it forms a very narrow line between the edge of a hard and soft landscape. Then coming to the shrubs up to the eye level. So these are some of the examples of the shrubs for eye level which are commonly used, like Alpinia purpurata, then Caesalpinia, Eclipha, like that. So the purpose is it becomes a movement, it should become a barrier to the movement, but should not become barrier for eye vision. The planting between knee and high level must obstruct the movement but allow the vision. This is the basic objective for which we are using knee to eye level planting for shrubs. Like this, shrub has become a barrier, but a person can, or this lady can easily see what is going across the other side. These are some of the examples where shrubs can create a circulation tank, guiding people to walk across like this. Then, besides this, natural shrub provides counterbalance flooring for tall trees. These are the natural shrubs already growing. These also provide a balancing for the tall trees. Then knee to eye level planting. It can separate areas for safety reasons, keeping people or vehicles away from steep slopes, water, or from such type of other dangerous slopes. If this ground cover spreads over pavement or grass, some incidental or natural pruning will result from trampling. Where traffic is light, occasional trimming is always needed. Then coming to the knee to eye level planting, it can be used to acknowledge and emphasize desired lines or pathways where visual enclosure is not wanted, where we want to restrict that whosoever wants to see, who does not want to see, that we can restrict the movement, just like this. Here we are using these trees. It has clearly blinded provided a blinded space for this house. So the privacy between the two homes without creating any wall. It has a biological wall which we have created with the small trees. The need to eye level planting. It can be used to maintain a distance between people and buildings and other private areas in the way giving privacy by not going above the window sill level and reducing the height. It can definitely, it can define a building area, a domain like a low wall, fence, hedge, or but some less formally, like this. We have not crossed the windowsill, but we have created a barrier. The person sitting inside this house can easily recognize whosoever is standing in this outer, softer areas of mowed lawn, but he cannot visualize whosoever is standing out, cannot visualize what is whosoever is sitting inside. So these shrubs can provide privacy to the building from with distance between the private space of the building with the outer space. Then coming to the tall shrubs above eye level planting. So some of the shrubs we are using for extending above eye level from a visual and physical barrier. The planting taller from eye level not only helps in physical barrier but also visual barrier like this. If you see this, it is beyond our knee height and also beyond our eye level. It is completely providing a physical and visual barrier. Then coming to the trees. So coming to the trees, tree size is very important. Where we are using to use it, as the size of the tree increases, distance from the permanent structures buildings should increase. As a thumb rule, height of the tree, whatsoever is the total expected height of the tree, the distance should be at least 1/3 from the base of the building. For example, if the height of the tree is 30 meters, we should plant at least 10 meters away from the building. This is a thumb rule because it should not penetrate, its roots should not damage the plinth level. Such structures should be avoided. So tree planting can be used for screening, separating, sheltering, enclosing, accompanying, and complementing these structures. When tree species grow freely to produce a very clear main stem or bole with their canopies above the head height, they leave the space above the ground open except for the vertical pillars of their boles. So I have already told we can classify our trees into 3 types on the basis of their total maturity expected: 5 to 10 meters, small trees, medium, 10 to 20 meters, and beyond 20 meters, they will be recognized as taller trees. Then coming to the smaller planting trees above 5 meters level. They not only add scale to the mixed planting and can link to the surrounding landscape. The mature size small trees function can help to create a definite dividing zone into the small planting zone. Small trees add vertical elements to the composition. Then medium planting trees, they create a space that contains smaller buildings and therefore have a greater effect on the spatial structure of the urban landscape. If we go by the medium planting, they play a crucial role in integrating the massive industrial buildings like power stations into the surrounding landscape. One more important thing is, while selecting the trees for high polluting areas, we should keep in mind those trees should be raised which able to absorb the higher levels of carbon dioxide. Not only that too during dusty locations, because we can sometimes see the complete foliage or canopy of the tree covered with dust. Their dust is removed only during the rain. So such trees like Alstonia, they can be planted in highly polluted zones like industrial areas, power stations, etc. Then tall trees above 20 meters. These are some of the examples of the taller trees. Then the umbrella tree, Brassica, Calestimon, then Acacia auriculiformis, then jacaranda. They help in screen and separate a larger building. Besides this, they also provide a specific location. For example, if we are raising or planting somewhere Ficus bengalensis, so they provide a location specific for that spot. You can provide that where on that rotary the bengalensis is grown, where you have to go. That can provide a clear landmark areas. Tree belts and plantations enveloping and extending outward from such sites provide screening of the near distance views. From greater distance, although they cannot hide structures on the scale of cooling towers or turbine houses, but they can visually anchor them, thus supporting landscape and screen the lower level of ancillary development like temporary buildings and car parks. Thank you very much. So these are some of the things I wanted to share.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your very valuable information. You are widely focused on the avenue plantation, group plantation, mixed plantation. Even you are focused on informal plantation. You are rightly focused on the tree shrubs with the different categories of height, small trees and tall trees, medium-sized trees. It was a very nice and beautiful presentation. So now this forum is open for the question and answer session. Those who have any question to our speaker, they are free to ask their questions. Is there any question from the participants? Is there any question from the participants to our speaker? अर्बन प्लांटेशन के ऊपर आपका कोई भी आज के वेबिनार के रिलेटेड कोई भी सवाल हो तो आप अपने स्पीकर से पूछ सकते हैं।
हाँ, नमस्कार सर।
हाँ जी सर।
मैं डॉक्टर दीपक खुजा बोल रहा हूँ सर, ग्राफिकेरा हिल यूनिवर्सिटी देहरादून से।
जी जी सर।
हाँ सर, पहले तो आपका सर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने सर अपना इतने बिजी शेड्यूल से इस समय निकाल के हमें इतनी अच्छी जानकारियां दी, और हमारे जितने भी एग्रीकल्चर के स्टूडेंट्स हैं उन्होंने कुछ ना कुछ नया सीखने को मिलेगा। मैं सर यही कहना चाह रहा था कि हमारे देश में भी क्यों जो मल्टी स्टोरी बिल्डिंग्स हम आज खड़ी कर रहे हैं उनको हम ग्रीन बिल्डिंग्स में कन्वर्ट करने का कंसेप्ट क्यों नहीं बना सकते। एवरी MDDA जो महानगर डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटीज होती हैं उनको क्यों हम फोर्स ना करें कि जब भी कोई भी नक्शा पास हो, ऐसा न्यू टाउनशिप का डेवलपमेंट हो, तो ऐसे ही ग्रीन बिल्डिंग कंसेप्ट्स जो है जिनको हम आज के डेट में इको बिल्डिंग्स और हाई एनर्जी इफिशिएंसी बिल्डिंग्स का भी दर्जा देते हैं, तो उनको गवर्नमेंट अपनी तरफ से रिबेट देके, टैक्सेस में छूट देके, या जो भी उसकी फीस होती है उसमें अगर हम रिड्यूस करें तो मैं समझता हूँ कि मोर ग्रीन एरिया इवन इन द कंक्रीट स्ट्रक्चर्स कैन बी क्रिएटेड। तो क्या सर ये पॉसिबल है कि आने वाले समय में ऐसी पॉलिसीज बने और ज्यादा हम ग्रीनरी इन आवर सराउंडिंग देखें रेदर देन द टॉल कंक्रीट जंगल्स?
मैं आपकी जानकारी के लिए बताऊं कि जो मैंने शुरू में आपको शायद आपने सुना होगा, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने ऑलरेडी अर्बन ग्रीनिंग गाइडलाइंस इशू की हुई है, तो जिसके तहत हमें कम से कम 20% एरिया हैज टू बी केप्ट अंडर ग्रीनर कंडीशंस। जो भी हमारा नक्शा नया भी जो भी प्लान हमारा पास होता है घर का, उसमें वो मैंडेटरी रखना पड़ता है। ये ऑलरेडी इन प्लेस है फॉर नॉट ओनली फॉर one or some of the development authorities for throughout the countries, but the implementation part is very important. Sometimes हम लोग क्या करते हैं, खुद ही कुछ प्लान में alterations कर लेते हैं without caring for the greener areas. So only thing is it is only the awareness why which we have reached these level of standards. जैसे आज की डेट पे आप किसी भी एयरपोर्ट से बाहर आओ तो 4 से 5 किलोमीटर की स्ट्रिप आपको बिल्कुल ऐसे लगती है as you are in Europe or in America. So this is all about awareness. So I think it is achievable and very shortly with the जो हमारी NGT अब रोल प्ले कर रही है बिल्कुल छोटे से छोटे लेवल पर, नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल है, that has also played a vital role in implementing the greener laws in the country.
हाँ सर,
Easily
मेरा भी
हो सकता है।
हाँ हाँ जी सर, वही है कि जब कोई भी नई कॉलोनी करती है तो बिल्डर ना तो ऐसी कोई जगह छोड़ते, जबकि यही कहा गया है कि कभी जहां पर जो न्यू प्लॉटिंग होगी, कॉलोनी होगी, उसके बीच में आपको कोई ना कोई एक ऐसा एरिया छोड़ना पड़ेगा जहां बच्चों का पार्क हो, बड़े बुजुर्गों के घूमने टहलने की जगह हो। लेकिन कोई भी बिल्डर या कोई भी टाउनशिप में ऐसा देखने को नहीं मिलता। ही हमारा दुर्भाग्य है। खाली पॉलिसीज और
सर
डॉक्यूमेंट्स
मैं आपकी बात को रोक रहा हूँ बीच में। मैं यही
हाँ
कह
सर।
रहा हूँ, अगर आप नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल की वेबसाइट पे डायरेक्टली भी अगर ये कंप्लेंट डाल दें तो दे
हाँ
टेक
जी।
सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस ऑफ दिस थिंग। सो एक एज अवेयर एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबल सिटीजन वी आल्सो हैव टू play some role in it, because we cannot leave everything on the government that they should implement the things. Rules are already in place. Only thing is we also have to contribute for these things.
हाँ सर, वही कहने होता है कि हमारे पास आज के न्यू जनरेशन के लिए कोई ना पार्क है एरियाज में, ना कोई ऐसा ग्रीन कॉरिडोर है जहाँ बच्चे आउटिंग के लिए हम भेज सकें या बड़े बुजुर्ग जो हमारे हैं वो जा सकें। तो उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण यही है कि हम ही लोग उन लॉज को उस टाइम पे फॉलो नहीं करते या फोर्सफुली उस बिल्डर या कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से नहीं करवाते हैं, जिसके कारण हम बाद में और आने वाली जनरेशन सफर करती है।
बिल्कुल ठीक बोल रहे हैं।
Hello,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes, Netra madam, please ask your question.
Sir, Vishal sir, can you repeat please कि हम कहाँ complain कर सकते हैं?
नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल।
नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल। और
Yeah.
उसका हमें बेनिफिट क्या होता है? मतलब वो फीस पे करनी होती है या
नहीं,
ऐसा
आपको
होता
कोई
है?
फीस पे नहीं करनी है उसके लिए। वो सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस लेता है कंप्लेंट्स का, क्योंकि और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है उसका क्विक डिस्पोजल है। विद इन 1 ईयर बड़ी सारी ऐसी केसेस हैं, बड़े सारे ऐसे हैं, अगर आप गूगल करके भी देखेंगे बहुत सारे केसेस। कई जगह आपने देखा होगा हाईवे डेवलप्स हुए, उन्होंने जो उनका मटेरियल था वो साइड्स पे डंप कर दिया। बहुत सारी ऐसी कंपनीज थी जिनको करोड़ों रुपए की पेनल्टी एनजीटी ने लगाई। सो दूसरी बात यह है कि जो कंप्लेनेंट है, जो विसल ब्लोअर है, उसका नाम वो किसी को नहीं बताते हैं, ना ही आपको बेफिजूल कोई भी आदमी आपको कोर्ट में अपेयर होने जाना पड़ेगा। एनजीटी उसका सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस लेती है, कंसर्न स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को लिखती है, दे टेक द ग्राउंड रियलिटी, उसका पूरा ख्याल वहां पे ये चीजों का रखा जाता है। अगर आप, मेरे को लगता है अलग से एनजीटी को अगर गूगल करके देखेंगे तो आपको काफी सारी चीजें क्लियर हो जाएंगी। फीस कोई पे नहीं करनी है आपको,
और सर, थैंक यू सर।
अनलेस इट इज फॉर पब्लिक कॉज।
हेलो।
ओके।
यस।
हाँ ये सर, ये आई एम फ्रॉम अहमदाबाद, और यहाँ पे सर कोनोकार्पस जो ट्री आता है ना, उसका प्लांटेशन बहुत जगह पे बहुत क्वांटिटी में हो रहा है अभी, लैंडस्केपिंग में और सभी जगह पर। तो क्या ये जो ट्री है वो सेफ है एनवायरनमेंट के लिए?
नहीं, किस ट्री की बात करें, पूरा नाम लेंगे उसका?
कोनोकार्पस।
कोनोकार्पस नॉर्मली एजिंग के लिए यूज हो रहा है।
मुझे
हाँ,
कोनोकार्पस नहीं, मैं रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करता इस ट्री को। हालांकि ट्री एक एज ए थंब रूल में आपको बताऊं, जो भी ट्री फोटोसिंथेटिक अपना बनाएगा वो मैंडेटरी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड अब्सॉर्ब करेगा। सिर्फ उस ट्रीज को हमें ये ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि क्या उसमें कोई एडिशनल किसी तरह के कोई एग्ज्यूट्स, कोई चीजें तो नहीं आती हैं जो हमारे सॉइल को किसी और चीजों को डिस्टर्ब कर रहे। बेसिकली only problem with conocarpus is ये मोस्टली हाइड्रोजन हमारा अब्सॉर्ब करता है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की जगह, और काफी ज्यादा ये रिलीज करता है हमारी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ड्यूरिंग नाइट। तो इस तरह के स्पीशीज को अवॉइड प्लानिंग हम लोग अवॉइड कर सकते हैं।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
सर मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ। सर शहर में तो सब फ्लैटें होते हैं, फ्लैट में सर कौन सा पौधा या कौन सा पेड़ लगाना चाहिए जिससे कि क्लीन एनवायरनमेंट हो या ऑक्सीजन भी मिले?
मैंने ऑलरेडी आपको बताया, कुछ क्लाइंबर्स हैं हमारे, कुछ हमारे जैसे ट्रेलर्स हैं, जैसे हमारे फाइकस रेपन्स है। सो दे नॉट ओनली प्रोवाइड अ ग्रीनर लुक टू द वॉल्स, इवन आपकी अगर जहाँ पे हमारा थोड़ा बहुत डैम्पी कंडीशंस हैं, so they also cover those things. Besides that, जो हमारे pot plants, indoor pot plants, they give a better aesthetic look to the flats. That can be used. If you have a terrace with that, you can go for hanging garden. You can raise each and everything, miniature plants you can use in such landscapes.
Prabhat sir, any more question?
सर और एक सवाल मेरा, शहर में सर बहुत से पोल्यूशन होते हैं सर, इस पोल्यूशन को कम करने के लिए कोई ऐसा पौधा है क्या, ऐसा कोई पेड़ है सर?
सर एज ए थंब रूल, जितना बड़ा कैनोपी हमारे ट्री का होगा उतना ज्यादा उसमें कैपेसिटी है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एब्जॉर्ब करने की। जैसे मैंने ऑलरेडी अपने लेक्चर में भी बात किया, फाइकस बेंगलेंसिस है, रिलीजियोसा है, हमारा सप्तपर्णी जिसको हम सप्तपर्णी है, डालोनिक्स रिजिया है, जैकरिंडा है, इस तरह के स्पीशीज जो बड़ी कैनोपी है, मैंगो वाले हैं, they easily absorb larger quantity of pollution and able to withstand dust. So इस तरह के ट्रीज हम लोग प्रमोट कर सकते हैं अपने लैंडस्केप में।
थैंक यू सर।
Any question from the participants to our speaker?
हेलो सर, भाग्यश्री देशमुख बात कर रहा हूँ नागपुर से। सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, मियावाकी टाइप से जो हम लोग डेंस मिक्स प्लांटेशन करते हैं, so is it useful or advisable for cities?
मैंने आपका पॉइंट फॉलो नहीं किया, प्लीज।
सर मियावाकी टाइप का जो डेंस मिक्स प्लांटेशन है वो हम लोग सिटीज में कर सकते हैं क्या?
जी बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं। सिर्फ आपके पास उतना सफिशिएंट स्पेस अवेलेबल होना चाहिए, दैट शुड गिव एस्थेटिक लुक। ऐसे जंगल नहीं लगना चाहिए, वो सफिशिएंट स्पेस 1 एकड़ 2 एकड़ का अगर आपके पास कोई रोटरी अवेलेबल है या कोई आपके पास कोई डिवाइडर अवेलेबल है, वहां पे आप कर सकते हैं उसको। बट कीपिंग इन व्यू द अदर पॉइंट्स व्हिच आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, रोटरी है तो वो एटलीस्ट किसी का व्यू ब्लाइंड ना करे, आने जाने वाले पेडेस्ट्रियंस भी और गाड़ी भी, दोनों लोगों को क्लियर कट विजन दिखना चाहिए। उस तरह से आप प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं। अगर आपने देखिए उसमें मल्टी स्टोरेड यूज करना है तो गो फॉर पाम्स। पाम्स क्या है, सीधा ऊपर निकल जाएंगे 10-15 फीट के बाद जाके, सॉरी 10-15 मीटर के बाद जाके कैनोपी बनाएंगे। उसमें आप क्रीपर और श्रब्स यूज कर सकते हैं अप टू आई लेवल हाइट, जो मैं आपको एक बीच में बता रहा था आई लेवल हाइट का, वहां तक यूज कर सकते हैं। और दैट विल गिव अ वेरी गुड एस्थेटिक लुक टू द मल्टी टियर और multi-level landscape in the urban landscape.
Thanks sir.
Any more question?
Sir.
Yeah, नेत्रा मैडम पूछिए।
सर इंडिविजुअली अगर मतलब ऐसी कोई गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम या ऐसा कुछ है कि जो प्लांटेशन करते हैं तो उस टाइम पे हेल्प करती हो, मतलब ऐसी कोई गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम है?
मैडम ये स्टेट टू स्टेट वेरी करता है। जैसे हॉर्टिकल्चरल प्लांटेशन के लिए गवर्नमेंट बड़ी जगह सब्सिडी देती है। मैं J&K गवर्नमेंट की बात करता हूँ, जो यूटी ऑफ J&K है, वहां पे तो वो एवरीथिंग गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोवाइडिंग। रादर प्लांटिंग मटेरियल भी आप खुद खरीदते हो, गवर्नमेंट बिल पास करके आपको देती है, सो दैट आपके साथ ये ना हो कि हमने गवर्नमेंट से लिया या सर्टिफाइड नर्सरी से लिया था, मटेरियल कुछ और निकला। So that varies. Besides that, if you understand, there is another concept of environmental market. Just like our share market, we have environmental market in place. जो 2010 के बाद जितनी हमारी प्लांटेशन हुई है, अगर हम उसको environmental market में रजिस्टर करें, वो भी हम हमारे कार्बन क्रेडिट्स अर्न करके सेल कर सकते हैं इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में। But that needs some higher areas and higher lockout periods in the form of wood. वो भी एक कंसेप्ट अवेलेबल है और स्टेट टू स्टेट वो वेरी करता है कहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट क्या। कई जगह पे आपको फेंसिंग के लिए मटेरियल दिया जाता है सब्सिडाइज, कई जगह पे प्लांटिंग मटेरियल है और कई जगह पे सर्वाइवल के ऊपर आपको सब्सिडी दी जाती है गवर्नमेंट से। इट डिपेंड करता है आप कहाँ से बिलोंग करते हैं।
मिस्टर प्रेम प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
हाँ मेरा, हेलो।
हाँ
यस
सर मेरा भी अभी मैम ने जो पूछा उसी से रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन था कि जैसे हमारा भी एक छोटा सा नर्सरी का काम है, तो शहर के अंदर ही, तो इस तरह का भी कोई स्कीम या कोई गवर्नमेंट का कुछ है क्या, जिससे हम लोगों तक डायरेक्ट पहुंच सकें या लोगों तक हमारे बारे में बता सकें?
मैं वही आपको बता रहा हूँ ना, हम जैसे यूटीज में तो ये है कि हम लोग डायरेक्ट रजिस्टर करते हैं डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हॉर्टिकल्चर के साथ एज ए सर्टिफाइड नर्सरी ग्रोवर। उससे क्या है कि फॉर एग्जांपल जो भी फार्मर है या जो भी किसान भाई हमारे प्लांटेशंस के लिए जाते हैं हॉर्टिकल्चरल क्रॉप्स की, वो उन सर्टिफाइड नर्सरी में से किसी भी नर्सरी में से डायरेक्ट जाके प्लांटिंग मटेरियल खरीद लेते हैं। वो उसका ना ही कोई टेंशन उनको ये होता कि कहाँ से लिया, कैसे लिया, उनकी बिलिंग और सारी चीजें वो आपको कैश पे करेगा और रिफंड उसको गवर्नमेंट करेगी, बिकॉज यू आर ऑलरेडी एज रजिस्टर्ड विद दैट गवर्नमेंट एज ए सर्टिफाइड ग्रोवर। इस तरह की कुछ प्रोविजंस यूटीज में है।
तो ये इसके बारे में हम जानकारी कहीं कोई लिंक है या कुछ वेबसाइट या कुछ इस तरह का?
ये आप अगर नेशनल हॉर्टिकल्चरल बोर्ड की वेबसाइट खोलेंगे NHB की, तो उसमें ये आपको क्लियर कट मिल जाएगी सारी गाइडलाइंस।
ओके सर।
और सर प्रोसीजर भी वही होती है, मतलब उसके लिए अगर स्कीम्स के लिए अप्लाई करना है तो उसकी प्रोसीजर भी वही होती है?
मैं आपको बताता हूँ, उसमें बड़े सारे इंडिकेटर्स हैं, जैसे उसमें लैंड, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल उसमें उसको 100 के स्केल के ऊपर मार्क किया गया है, तो हर एक पॉइंट के डिफरेंट मार्क्स हैं। जैसे लैंड के 20 मार्क्स हैं। इफ यू हैव 1 हेक्टेयर और अबव लैंड यू विल गेट 20 मार्क्स। वाटर सोर्स, फेंसिंग, प्रॉक्सिमिटी फ्रॉम द रोड, इस तरह के डिफरेंट स्केल्स के ऊपर वो नर्सरी को अप्रूव करते हैं। आपका प्लांटिंग मटेरियल का सोर्स क्या आप खुद ग्रो करते हैं कि बाहर से प्रोक्योर करते हैं फ्रॉम सर्टिफाइड सोर्स, वो सारी चीजें हैं। तो 100 में से 50 इज द स्कोर बोर्ड पे अगर आपके मार्क्स आते हैं तो यू गेट द परमिशन टू रजिस्टर देमसेल्फ एज ए रजिस्टर्ड नर्सरी विद द गवर्नमेंट।
सर एक रिक्वेस्ट और थी कि अगर इस चीज जो अपने आज का जो मीटिंग और ये हुई है उसका अगर आगे कभी हमें कुछ जानकारी के लिए वापस देखना हो तो कहाँ से मिल सकेगी ये हमें?
मैं शेयर कर दूंगा INA के साथ ये अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन, ये ग्रुप में आपके साथ शेयर कर देंगे।
ओके सर। तो सर ये ग्रुप में जुड़ने का भी एक तरीका बता दें, क्योंकि मैं सिर्फ किसी लिंक के मार्फत आया किसी ग्रुप से।
सर आप INA का अभी लिंक में आपको मैसेज आ जाएगा, नंबर, वो नंबर पे आप कांटेक्ट कर लीजिए, आप रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन।
हाँ सर, ठीक है सर।
ठीक है। There is one question from Sangu Aqua. Sir, please ask your question.
Audible, sir?
Sir, you are raising your hand. Please ask your question.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, this is for in order to planting this in factory area. This is subsidies applicable.
I am not. Yes. Yes. Please repeat your question.
Now it's audible.
Yes, please.
Yeah, in planting this tree in factory area, subsidy applicable?
Factory areas? No.
No, for this oxygen.
That is not available.
No, for oxygen plant area.
No,
and,
because you have to do mandatory. Because mandatorily you have to do compensatory afforestation in the factory areas. So no subsidies available for those areas.
Oh, it is mandatory as of this year or long?
No. As per law, it is mandatory. You have to go for compensatory plantations so as to reduce your pollution levels.
Okay, that is fine. And then this subsidy only for machinery, not for this. This is
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this for one investment. Okay, how much the percentage of land have to be occupied for this?
That varies upon your category of the industry. If it is in red category, that has to be higher. Just like if you have a cement industry, then you may have to go for reclamation of mined areas in acres together.
If like I am putting oxygen plant with a hybrid power, then 10% land or more have to occupy for this?
No, basically you cannot scale out the plants, how much oxygen it is liberating. Because we cannot calculate each and every plant how much oxygen it is liberating. So government has made a thumb rule that industry has to go for compensatory afforestation, especially for red, yellow, and orange category, not for the green category.
Not for
Green category.
not for green, not required.
No.
Red, yellow only.
Orange, red, and yellow.
Orange, red, yellow only you have to plant. But 1% or 10% according to our own plan.
I think I am not able to answer this question
Who
because
will answer?
specifically your pollution control board will answer.
OC, okay. And NHP?
Pardon?
NHP.
NHP.
They can
NHP will only provide the guidelines for the registering their nursery,
registering,
not for this pollution related matters. Either
registering.
you have to go visit the site of CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, or State Pollution Control Board in your state.
What is the role in NHP and NGT?
NHP and NGT are two different aspects. NHP, basically, NGT is National Green Tribunal. That is carved out of the Supreme Court, which deals only with the cases related to the environment.
Okay,
that
if
is
it is,
what NGT.
Suppose if I not planted, then they applicable.
Yeah.
And PCP will escalate to them.
Yeah. Now
And
PCB is competent enough to is competent enough to directly take cognizance of this issue. If that is not resolved by PCB, then only someone
Level
can
two.
take it to NGT, or NGT can take cognizance of this issue.
NGT SC or HC? NGT they will forward to
NGT,
S.
National
the Supreme
Green
Court to the High Court. They will escalate to
No.
Supreme Court. to High Court.
That's what I am saying. NGT has been carved out of Supreme Court of India. That is the highest authority for listening to the grievance related to environment in the country. The separate court has been made called as National Green Tribunal. That is
Okay, they will
equivalent
not.
to Supreme Court.
Okay, they will not. They themselves equivalent to SC. Yeah?
They are equivalent to SC for environmental issues.
Okay. They will
No
not escalate to Supreme Court or High Court. They themselves will handle.
No strictures can be passed over and above NGT by Supreme.
Okay.
That's why disposal of the cases is very high in case of NGT.
Okay, so they will not escalate to Supreme Court or a High Court. They themselves a Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And National Horticultural Board, they will give guideline on how to plant.
Plant rather export. Yeah. They will also provide guidelines for export oriented materials, species in demand, plants in demand, APIDA, because
export.
Yeah.
Okay, APIDA export they will handle, APIDA and NHP, and NHP also will act as how to plant and all they will guide. Planting guidelines.
Vishal sir, please share your cell number and email ID in the chat. So
and can I have your
participants can contact you.
Yeah, I am putting it in my chat box.
Okay.
Thank you. You just आप chat में आपका number डाल दीजिए.
And
प्रेम जी मैंने आज
and every after 5 years I can.
Sangu sir, just a minute. If you want to contact Dr. Vishal, you can contact on his number. You please check the number in the chat.
Okay, thank you
can contact him and
okay,
solve your queries. Mr. Prem ji, chat में मैंने एक number दिया है for registration of INA membership. You are asking about the membership, Mr. Prem. तो आज विशाल महाजन सर ने हमको अर्बन प्लांटेशन के बारे में अच्छे से वाकिफ किया, जो भी वैल्यूएबल नॉलेज दिया उसका नॉलेज सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए बहुत उपयुक्त है। तो ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ इंडियन नर्सरी एसोसिएशन आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू डॉक्टर विशाल महाजन सर फॉर गाइडिंग अस, और स्पेशली मैं उनको आज शुक्रिया अदा करूंगा कि एक शॉर्ट नोटिस पे 11th आवर पे उन्होंने हमारा इनविटेशन एक्सेप्ट किया और आज इस वेबिनार में बहुत अच्छे से मार्गदर्शन किया। उनका सहयोग आईएनए को बहुत बार रहता है, हमेशा रहेगा। इसका हमें अंदाज है, तो इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन की ओर से डॉक्टर विशाल जी का तहे दिल से शुक्रिया। जो भी हमारे साथ पार्टिसिपेंट्स आज जुड़े थे, आईने के साथ जुड़ने के लिए सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का तहे दिल से शुक्रिया। इंडियन नर्सरी एसोसिएशन की जो टीम है, रिया मैडम है, सोनिका मैडम है, पिंकी मैडम है, इन लोगों के मेहनत के बदौलत आज हम ये 60th वेबिनार कर रहे हैं। तो स्पेशल थैंक टू आईने की जो बैक ऑफिस में टीम बैठी और काम कर रही है। आईने की टीम के साथ साथ इस टीम को भी तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। और सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वेबिनार again on different topic. Till then, have a nice time. Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
हाँ सर एक लास्ट चीज, विशाल सर एक लास्ट चीज पूछ सकता हूँ?
हाँ जी पूछिए
सर। जैसे हम
हाँ बोलिए डॉक्टर दीपक सर बोलिए।
हाँ थैंक यू सर, आपने ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी और इतना अच्छी जानकारी हम सबको मिली, और जो हमारे नए एग्रीकल्चर के बच्चे हैं वो जरूर इससे बेनिफिट्स हुए हैं। सर मेरा पर्सनली ये कहना था कि हम लोग जब कभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया, कनाडा और स्विट्जरलैंड की फोटो देखते हैं तो रोड्स के दोनों ओर बड़े अच्छे झुरमुट की तरह पेड़ दिखते हैं, फ्लावरिंग एंजियोस्पर्मिक प्लांट्स, ट्रीज का देखते हैं, हम उनको देख के ही कहते हैं वाओ व्हाट अ एरिया और व्हाट अ ब्यूटी। लेकिन इंडिया में ऐसा कहीं देखने को मिलता नहीं। और जो पुराने हमारे रोड साइड नेशनल हाईवेज थे भी, उनको ब्रॉडनिंग के नाम पे जो पुराने ट्रीज थे वो सारे काट दिए। जो बचे वो इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस या टेलीफोन लाइंस ने काटी। उसके बाद फिर जब सब कुछ हो गया, ऑप्टिकल केबल फाइबर वालों ने खोद के जो न्यू प्लांटेशन लगाया था वो भी खत्म कर दिया। जब वो भी हो गया, उसके बाद दोनों साइड फिर जब ड्रेनेज की प्रॉब्लम हुई तो ड्रेनेज के लिए वो खत्म हो गए। अब ना तो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट वाले ना नेशनल हाईवे वाले दोबारा से प्लांटेशन करते हैं, और वो ये ब्यूटी सीन सब कहीं भी ओल्डर जो हम पिक्चर्स में देखते थे या अभी फॉरेन देखते, कहीं इंडिया में नहीं। तो मेरा सिर्फ यही कहना था, क्या नेशनल हाईवे या फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट इसके लिए रेस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है कि वो इन चीजों को मेंटेन रखे, या न्यू जो प्लांटेशन करते हैं उसकी भी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले एक। और दूसरा, जनरली फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट भी हमने देखा जैसे इलेक्ट्रिकल लाइंस भी कहीं जाती है या वो जाते हैं, वो खुद ही पेड़ों को कटवाते हैं ताकि उनका अपर क्राउन डिस्टरबेंस क्रिएट ना करे ड्यू टू द स्टॉर्म्स, हैवी विंड्स के कारण स्पार्क क्रिएट ना करे। लेकिन जब वो प्लांटेशन प्रमोट भी करते हैं तो सिर्फ कॉमर्शियल ट्रीज का ही करते हैं। जैसे आपने कहा यूकेलिप्टस नहीं लगाना चाहिए, पॉपुलर स्टेट बोल वाले प्लांट नहीं लगाना चाहिए, क्योंकि whenever there will be some wind storms or any other earthquake problem, certainly they will block the roads or railway lines. लेकिन जब भी वो प्लांटेशन खुद भी करते हैं तो सिर्फ इन्हीं प्लांट्स को ही प्रमोट करते हैं, rather than the flowering plants or having a dense canopy plants. तो सर इसमें क्या हो सकता है फ्यूचर हमारा?
मैं आपको इसमें डॉक्टर साहब मैं ये कहूंगा इसमें कि नाउ द कंसेप्ट इज चेंजिंग, इट मे टेक सम टाइम बट इट विल चेंज। अगर आप अब किसी भी हमारे एयरपोर्ट दिल्ली से लेके आप केरला तक किसी भी एयरपोर्ट को देखोगे तो यू विल नॉट फील कि इट इज लेस देन ऑस्ट्रेलिया और कनाडा। वो पूरा एस्थेटिक वैल्यू, एस्थेटिक लुक्स वहां पे आती हैं। इट इज ओनली द मैटर ऑफ टाइम। इफ यू सी जितने भी हमारे टोल रोड्स बने हैं नेशनल हाईवे के ऊपर, नो डाउट दे आर चार्जिंग फॉर द ट्रैफिक, दे आर चार्जिंग फ्रॉम द ट्रैफिक, बट also giving the aesthetic look to the highways across both the sides as well as on the pavements. ऐसा नहीं है, time has come for the change and we will accept this heartily.
Sir,
थैंक यू सर। डॉक्टर दीपक सर, शुरुआत कुछ हम लोगों से भी खुद से करनी पड़ेगी। We always expect from the government and the organizations, तो हमको हमारा भी रोल प्ले करना पड़ेगा as a citizens of this country. We have to play a vital role. जैसे आप किसी एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी में, तो वहाँ पे बच्चों में अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करना प्लांटेशन का, बाय स्टडी एक्टिविटी करके प्लानिंग करने के साथ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करना, अगर ऐसी चीजें इस देश में चालू हो जाए तो ये बहुत सुंदर देश है और उसको सुंदर बनाना हम सब लोगों का काम है। गवर्नमेंट और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन तो काम करेगी, लेकिन हमारा भी थोड़ा सा सहयोग इस दिशा में सभी का होना चाहिए, ऐसा मेरी पर्सनल सोच है। So with this note, I will say thank you everyone and see you in the next webinar.
ठीक है, thank you sir very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.